My sister Sarah believed all living things had souls and should not be killed. When my grilled fish restaurant opened, I invited her to give her opinion. Instead, she cursed me as cruel. Not only did she unilaterally release all the expensive fish I had bought, but every day she would also stand solemnly at the entrance, blocking customers from entering my restaurant, repeating, "Fish have spirits, and eating them will harm your karma." She sabotaged my grilled fish restaurant until I couldn't continue. I had to go home to rest, but then the stray dog Sarah adopted, Biggie, suddenly attacked me, biting off one of my legs. Dragging my crippled body, I cried for help. She replied that small animals have spirits and only get close to kind people. It must be because you're too cruel that it bit you. Everyone shunned me because of this. My boyfriend, David, left me and got engaged to Sarah. My parents also cut ties with me. Thanks to her kind actions, Sarah attracted countless fans, becoming a positive energy influencer. She was even invited to give official speeches, proudly declaring, "All things have spirits and good deeds are rewarded. It is precisely because I respect every living being that I have achieved what I have today." As for me, I was kicked out of the house, my amputated leg became infected, and I died miserably on the streets. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the opening day of my grilled fish restaurant. Fish have spirits, sister. You cruelly kill for personal gain, and you will surely face retribution. Hearing Sarah's absurd yet warm words again, I realized I had been reborn. In my previous life, because Sarah loved to eat fish, I searched for many secret recipes, cooking all sorts of dishes for her at home. Each time, she would smack her lips while eating, yet angrily criticize me. All beings are equal. You, relying on your human status at the top of the food chain, slaughter them. Committing such immense evil karma will affect your reincarnation after death. I never took it to heart, only thinking Sarah was just arrogant and not good at expressing herself directly. But I never imagined that, after investing all my savings to open this grilled fish restaurant and inviting Sarah to offer her opinion, she would loudly curse me as cruel in front of so many customers. Not only did she unilaterally release all the expensive fish I had bought, but every day she would block the entrance, using her usual sanctimonious words to deter customers. "Fish have spirits, and eating them will harm your karma." After doing all this, Sarah even puffed out her chest. "Sister, I did all this to accumulate good karma for you. You should thank me." I suffered heavy losses and had no choice but to close the restaurant and go home to rest. Then, my nightmare began. My parents believed my hands were covered in blood. Every day, they made me kneel before a gilded Buddha statue to repent. They brought me food, watery soup with pickled vegetables, plain congee, a diet stricter than a monk's. If I showed even a hint of dissatisfaction, I would be verbally abused, my character humiliated. Sarah is right, you truly are an inhumane butcher with only slaughter on your mind. If you miss a single meat meal, your demon heart resurfaces, and even the Buddha cannot restrain it. If you still don't recognize your heinous sins, we will have no choice but to cruelly keep you locked here to atone. I was dizzy with hunger, completely devoid of strength. So when Biggie, the stray dog Sarah adopted, went mad and lunged at me, I had no way to dodge. Bitten, my leg severed, I fell into a pool of blood, desperately begging my family and boyfriend to save me. Yet, swayed by Sarah's words, they deemed me an irredeemably cruel woman. They heartlessly threw me onto the street to fend for myself. Serves her right, all things have spirits, small animals only gravitate towards kind people. Biggie is usually gentle and well-behaved, yet he bit you out of nowhere. He must have seen how utterly cruel you are and couldn't bear it any longer. Losing a leg is just the beginning of your retribution. For the sins of slaughter she committed, even greater misfortunes are surely coming. She only has herself to blame for not listening to my advice and never ceasing her murderous intent. We cannot intervene, or we will become entangled in her karma and bear the upcoming disasters on her behalf. I wasn't treated in time, my leg became infected, and I eventually died consumed by resentment. Even at the point of death, I couldn't understand why I, who only wanted to open a restaurant and earn money with my skills, had fallen into such a tragic fate, reviled by everyone. Reborn, I refused to be a stepping stone for my hypocritical, double-standard sister to help her build her false image again. Thinking this, I feigned panic. My voice was loud enough for all the customers in the restaurant to hear clearly. Sarah, repeat what you just said. Every single fish I killed was eaten by you. If there's really karma involved, then the retribution should fall upon you, not me. To add credibility, I raised my phone high, scrolling through photos in my album for everyone present to see. Beside each photo of Sarah ravenously eating fish, there were small, detailed notes. These were my records after each time I improved a recipe to make the fish more delicious and to her liking. This immediately proved Sarah's hypocrisy, showing she said one thing and did another. Everyone's gaze on her instantly turned strange. Sarah's face went pale, and she resentfully shed tears. You forced me to eat them. Every time I finished, I had to try to stick my fingers down my throat to throw up everything, otherwise I'd have nightmares. I coldly watched her perform. Sarah was always like this. If she couldn't win an argument, she'd twist facts, and if she shed a few tears, someone would immediately come to her aid. Sure enough, seeing Sarah being bullied, my parents' faces immediately darkened, and they angrily shouted at me. Sarah is not like you. From childhood, you've always loved killing living things. Now, to satisfy your twisted pleasure, you open a grilled fish restaurant, finding a legitimate excuse to torture live fish. Sarah couldn't bear to see you burdened with sin, so she kindly tried to stop you. Not only are you ungrateful, but you're also lashing out, wasting her good intentions. Every word they uttered was filled with hatred, describing my greatest sin. I stared wide-eyed in disbelief. I couldn't believe they would open their eyes and lie so shamelessly, all out of favoritism for Sarah. Before, when helping with cooking, I couldn't even bring myself to kill a shrimp, let alone live, twitching fish and other seafood. My parents always mocked me for my clumsiness and cowardice. It was only then that I gathered all my courage, overcame the psychological burden, and repeatedly handled the ingredients. It was incredibly difficult to get used to it, and now they were blaming me for killing too much. Nothing in this world was more ridiculous. I immediately shook my head, denying, I swear to God, I have never tormented any living being. No sooner had I spoken than my father slapped me hard. My mother coldly snapped, still arguing? Is it so hard to admit your mistakes? You truly have no humanity. The crowd around us immediately cast disgusted glances my way. After all, someone publicly scolded by their own parents couldn't possibly be a good person. Everyone angrily spoke up, criticizing me. Each person racked their brains to find the most venomous words to curse me. I can't believe such a kind-looking restaurant owner hides such an evil heart. Her sister is right. A vile person like her who disrespects life and harms living beings will surely not die peacefully, but will face retribution and go to hell. You lunatic, you don't deserve my hard-earned money. An angry man finished speaking, sweeping everything off the table. Still not appeased, he picked up a chair and threw it violently at me. My head, already jolted by my father's slap, was still reeling, and I couldn't react in time. My forehead hit the sharp corner of the chair, and fresh blood streamed down my chin, a truly horrifying sight. The man was clearly scared, his muscular body trembling. You! He was about to ask about my injury when Sarah suddenly cut him off. This righteous brother, you did absolutely the right thing. A disaster like my sister will only stop causing greater harm after being taught a lesson. Your compassion has brought blessings to all living creatures, and everything will go smoothly for you from now on. Sarah generously forgave the man who had injured me, even acknowledging and praising his actions. Seeing this, others rushed to follow suit, while I, fearing further injury, could only huddle in a corner, watching helplessly as a crowd destroyed the grilled fish restaurant I had so meticulously decorated. I clenched my fists, trying to suppress my rage. Just a little longer, and Sarah would soon face the consequences of her own actions. In just a moment, my restaurant, decorated with such a large sum of money, was utterly smashed. Everyone stopped, regret in their eyes. Sarah gazed contentedly at the chaos on the floor, her eyes finally resting on the kitchen. Panicked, I scrambled out, blocking the door with my body, pleading desperately, Sarah, you can't go in there. Inside, there are thousands of pounds of live fish I just imported, all bought at a high price. My restaurant has already been destroyed by you all. Returning these goods is the only way for me to salvage my losses. Sarah, I will change my ways, close the restaurant, and stop killing. So this is enough, please, I'm begging you, okay? The more I spoke, the brighter her eyes shone. Sarah remained unmoved, her words even more self-righteous. You are a killer, your promises are untrustworthy. I must change their fate of being eaten and personally return them to the rivers. Everyone unanimously praised her kindness. My parents, looking proud, pushed me, who was blocking the way, to the ground. My arm hit the floor hard, making me wince in pain. The people behind them rushed in, helping to carry the fish tanks. Sarah looked down at me, her eyes filled with smug satisfaction. Sister, I am so happy to share my future blessings with you. I believe that by following me and experiencing a release of life, you will gain a new understanding of the way of survival, and thus learn to respect every living being in this world. She needed me to be a backdrop for her benevolent actions. How could she allow me to be absent? With that, disregarding my resistance, she tightly grabbed me and dragged me along. When we actually reached the riverbank, Sarah immediately got busy live streaming. Just like in my previous life, she performed for the large audience online. After embellishing her accusations, I was portrayed as a cruel, vicious, inhumane person, and the comment section was filled with curses directed at me. Seeing that the atmosphere was sufficiently charged, Sarah waved her hand, and one by one, the tanks of live fish were thrown into the river. I desperately tried to stop them, crying loudly, my throat hoarse. No, please don't, you can't. However, no one would listen to me. The netizens, seeing me like this, ridiculed me even more harshly. Releasing living creatures is the most noble act, yet she's trying to stop it. Truly, she has no empathy whatsoever. Her sister's movements are skilled and reverent, her face filled with sorrow. It's clear she frequently performs good deeds, completely unlike her sister. A poisonous flower grows from the same root. Her sister has an evil heart. I suggest she commit suicide and reincarnate. No one saw me lower my head, a cold glint flashing in my eyes. I counted down silently, and at the very last second, Sarah's astonished cry rang in my ears. Oh my God, what's happening? It was fine just a moment ago. She was too shocked, her voice cracking, becoming shrill. By the time Sarah reacted, it was too late. Everyone followed her gaze, seeing thousands of dead fish floating on the river's surface, a shocking black mass. I pointed at Sarah, my voice trembling as I shouted, Sarah, you are the killer. Thousands of pounds, hundreds of fish, all killed by you. Your sins are piled high, and a great calamity will surely befall you. The color drained from Sarah's face, her legs went limp, and she collapsed miserably onto the ground. She stared blankly at the river's surface, unsure if she was frightened by my words or shattered by the collapse of her painstakingly built image. My parents simultaneously yelled at me, Sarah, what nonsense are you spouting? I blinked innocently. But I'm telling the truth. I saw they were flounder, which are saltwater fish. Sarah, ignoring their biological habits, threw them directly into the river. This act is even crueler than anything I've ever done. My words slowly brought everyone back to their senses from the horrifying scene before them. They looked at Sarah with eyes filled with doubt and anger. Could it be that the compassion and kindness she displayed were all fake? It was all her fault. She made me do it. The Buddha above knows all. If anyone's life is to be claimed, claim hers. None of this has anything to do with me. The comment section also shifted, now filled with criticism. The sister just now desperately tried to stop her. This person killed so many fish, truly evil, damn it. We've been exploited again. Luckily, the other sister was quick enough. Let's disband. Another one building a kind image to livestream sales. Just as the situation was becoming increasingly favorable to me, a familiar voice, laced with sarcasm, rang out. Sarah, you're slandering your sister again. I'm an avid fisherman. It's obvious the fish she imported weren't flounder, but similar-looking killifish. Killifish are freshwater fish. Sarah's act of releasing them was perfectly fine. You're trying to pin the blame for killing fish on Sarah. You must have tampered with the live fish earlier, causing them to die mysteriously. As your boyfriend of 3 years, do you think I don't know you? You're truly cunning. My boyfriend, David, emerged from the crowd, panting. He had clearly rushed over to help Sarah after watching the live stream. I scoffed. How could I be as cunning as you? You lie without blinking an eye. A man who won't even buy a 9.9 yuan dried squid has no right to call himself an avid fisherman. I'm ashamed for you. But then again, a lying, vile man like you, who doesn't blink an eye when fabricating stories, and a hypocritical image-building sister like mine, you're truly a match made in heaven. I've decided to break up with you to make way for you too. From now on, David and I have no relationship whatsoever. David hadn't expected me to be so decisive, showing no lingering affection, and he couldn't help but say with hatred, "A cruel woman like you, no one but me would ever marry." He rolled his eyes, his voice softening, laced with seduction and deceit. "Instead of waiting until you're old and unwanted, then coming back to me, why don't we just get married now? You've always wanted your own family. Miss this chance and you'll never get another one. Think carefully." I gently nodded. David wasn't wrong. My dream had indeed been to find someone who loved me and build a warm little family. But having died once, I had awakened. Instead of placing fragile hope in a partner who might betray me, I would love myself. He didn't know my inner thoughts. Seeing me nod, he immediately rejoiced. "Exactly, I've come to my senses." I cut off his illusion. "Don't dream. I wouldn't forgive you even if I died." Seeing that we had finished our negotiations, several police officers stepped forward and pulled David away. He finally understood fear, even abandoning his pride. He cried and begged me to have a change of heart. "Sarah, you can't be so cruel to your boyfriend. Even if not for me, think about your reputation." No matter what David said, I wouldn't even glance at him again. Finally, the police couldn't stand it anymore and dragged him away roughly, restoring peace to the world. The police had taken everyone away, leaving only Biggie, waiting for me to deal with him. To be honest, my feelings for Biggie were complex. Biggie was a dog Sarah adopted, a tool she picked up to build her image of kindness, living a life even harder than a stray. At least a stray could scavenge for food and occasionally eat its fill. But Biggie, no matter how much he wagged his tail, even if his tail broke from wagging, he wouldn't get food. Instead, he might even be beaten by the family. The wounds on his body were from such abuse. I had tried to intervene once, only to be treated like Biggie myself. My parents favored Sarah, their sweet-talking sister, who always made them happy. Whatever she did, they pampered and spoiled her. As for me, the quiet elder daughter, I was dispensable, completely unimportant. After one lesson, I became more obedient, no longer daring to openly prevent them from abusing Biggie. I only secretly helped him with his wounds, quietly treating him well. Over time, I grew fond of him, considering him an important member of the family. But in my previous life, because I was cruel, my parents locked me in a room, making me kneel before the Buddha statue all day to repent, my knees bleeding. Biggie, maddened by hunger, wanted to come to me for comfort and food, but stimulated by the smell of blood, he lost his mind and bit off my leg, indirectly leading to my death. To say I didn't hate him would be a lie. But the moment I was reborn was before I left home, and I had already fed Biggie. This time, he wasn't controlled by instinct. Seeing me being restrained, he immediately barked to scare Sarah. Then, when I was injured, he fiercely broke free from my parents and bit Sarah, protecting me, and was severely injured himself. Biggie affectionately rubbed against my hand. Seeing that even while dying, he still wanted to nuzzle me, I finally softened. After all, if not for Biggie, Sarah wouldn't have faced retribution so easily. Good and bad deeds balanced out. Whether he would live or not depended on his fate. I carefully picked Biggie up and walked towards the veterinary hospital. This action was praised by netizens in the live stream room. "The sister's head is bleeding so much. I hurt just looking at it." Yet she thought of taking the dog to the hospital first. She's truly I'm crying. First reactions can't lie. Sarah is the one with a truly compassionate heart. I will forever support pure and kind people. I explained to the comment section, I don't have a compassionate heart. It just looks serious. Biggie's injury becomes more dangerous with every second of delay. They thought I was lying to comfort them and became even more sympathetic. They exhausted their vocabulary, praising me as a beautiful, kind fairy, unparalleled on heaven or earth. I shook my head and smiled, calmly accepting this wave of immense traffic that originally belonged to Sarah. Because he was taken in time, Biggie fortunately survived. I made short videos of his daily life. When he recovered and I posted them online, they attracted a large number of new fans, making me a rising internet sensation. That day, I was live streaming, announcing to my fans the good news that my grilled fish restaurant was reopening. The customers who were initially deceived by Sarah and had destroyed my restaurant and released the fish to avoid jail time not only compensated me for the damages, but also paid extra for me to sign a waiver, plus the huge advertising fees from the platform. From then on, I wouldn't have to worry about money. With money and time, I intended to return to my old profession and reopen my grilled fish restaurant. I never expected that on the first day of reopening, I would receive uninvited guests. My parents held Sarah's portrait, weeping miserably at the door. She is an evil demon who killed her own sister and got her boyfriend sentenced to 5 years in prison, ruining his life. Eating what she cooks will infect you with evil karma. You'll die without salvation. After some time apart, their cheeks were sunken, their hair white, so old that I barely recognized them. I heard that Sarah had a severe infection, and my parents had spent all their savings to save her life, barely managing to keep her alive. The price was more than half her face being disfigured. Sarah couldn't accept it. She secretly mortgaged their house, borrowed money for plastic surgery, but the results only made things worse, leading to a series of complications. Tormented, Sarah eventually committed suicide, leaving behind a mountain of debt. My parents, having no other recourse, remembered me and came to demand money. I firmly refused. Their only remaining house was repossessed by the bank, and they hated me immensely, so they came up with this plan to ruin me. Their wailing attracted passers-by who stopped to watch. A crowd pointed at me. My parents became even more smug, cursing more fiercely. I remained unfazed. Only when they finished speaking did I slowly refute. Sarah committed suicide. Her death has nothing to do with me. David is also responsible for his own actions. If you two don't agree with the verdict, go to the police or appeal. I believe the law will uphold justice and side with me. My father coldly snorted, "Nonsense. If it weren't for you, Sarah wouldn't have been bitten and none of those subsequent events would have happened. Ultimately, it's all your fault." My mother also choked up, criticizing me. "You're even feeding that dog that bites people, making it fat and sleek. You surely want that beast to harm people again." Sensing their unfriendliness, Biggie, who was on a leash, barked 2 warning barks. My parents, having witnessed his ferocity before, fearfully clung to each other to suppress their trembling. I stroked Biggie, comforting him, and then gave a cold smile. I returned all the words Sarah had spoken to me in my previous life. All things have spirits. Biggie bit Sarah because she committed too many evil deeds. Her karma was too heavy, which brought about this calamity. Good and evil are rewarded accordingly. Sarah is bearing the consequences of her own actions. A disaster like her should have died long ago. Just then, my fans also arrived at the grilled fish restaurant. Their fighting spirit was no less than mine. Each person shouted a curse, rendering my parents speechless. I waved my hand, and the security guards escorted the 2 of them out. I looked into their horrified eyes and gently said, "Not all parents love their children. I know you 2 don't love me, but I still have to repay your upbringing. I've arranged a nursing home for you. You can stay there and live out your old age." My fans praised me for repaying evil with kindness, adoring me even more. No one knew the calculations in my heart. The caregivers in the nursing home only fed my parents plain congee and pickled vegetables, and every day, at the appointed time, they would drag them before a Buddha statue to repent their sins. The suffering I had endured, they would now experience for themselves. I hid the malice in my eyes, smiling at the newly arrived fans. "Everyone, please enjoy your meal without worry. I will donate a portion of the proceeds to an animal welfare association for rescue efforts." As soon as I spoke, the entire room cheered for my benevolent actions. Through word of mouth, my grilled fish restaurant grew stronger and stronger. After that, I was no longer satisfied with just donations.